You guys hear me?
Yes.
All right, awesome. Wes, thanks for taking the time. I really appreciate it. You've always settled quickly at your clubs, it seems, at least from the outside. Even now going back to Uruguay, which maybe wasn't the plan. Do you think having had a childhood where you moved around as much as you did helped you become adaptable as a pro?
Definitely. I think, my background coming from a military family, like you said, we moved around quite often. I think that plays a lot in my personality as well. I feel like I could make friends with The Rock if I needed to. I could make friends with The Rock if I needed to. And that's just because everywhere we moved, I had to make new friends. I had to adapt to new cultures, adapt to new situations and new environments. And so obviously moving around teams and moving to different countries, starting at a young age, definitely benefits to my situation now.
Next will be Doug McIntyre from Fox.
Thanks, Michael. Hey, guys, appreciate you doing this. I'd like to ask both of you this question. You're obviously club teammates now in addition to being international teammates. How does that help the national team when you're training every day together throughout the course of the season? You come back in, obviously there's often not a lot of time to prepare. How does that benefit the national team? And again, we'd love to hear both your thoughts on this. Thank you.
You want to start? Yeah, you can go ahead.
I think it's definitely a big positive because already me and Wes, we have pretty much a good understanding about how, I understand how he plays, he understands how I play, so our chemistry is really good. And then now that we're on the same team training every day, it's just going to make it even better. And when we come into camp, it's just very fluid, so hopefully that translates to the games. And I don't know, we're just happy. We're happy to be in this moment. We're happy to have each other in turn and with the national team. So we're just taking it step by step and enjoying the ride.
Yeah, I think, like you said, it definitely helps. Obviously, it's a huge step for U.S. soccer, U.S. soccer players as well. Just in general, seeing players that you grew up playing with, and you never really think that you might have someone on your team throughout your career, especially when you make the move to Europe. But as you see, you have Christian and Eunice together. You have the three guys at PSV. You have us two at Juventus. So I think we already have a good understanding from the many years that we've played together here on the national team. But I think it can just be that much more heightened with the fact that we're together every day. Obviously, I know outside of the field, I can be a little bit too much for Tim at sometimes, but on the field, like you said, we have a good understanding of each other, and coming into camp, it's good to have a travel partner.
A total of 6 pairings or groups of players on this U.S. roster that play together in their club soccer. We'll continue with Stephen Goff from the Washington Post.
Hey, Wes. There haven't been a lot of national team players, U.S. players in Italy over the years, but now there's a bunch of guys there. How would you describe the Italian football culture and scene? Maybe how it's different from, say, Germany or England, where you've been.
I think in Europe in general, there's a lot of passion in football. Obviously, where you go, the fan bases are different. Some are more loud, some are more critiqueful. Is that even a word? Critiqueful?
You're gonna have to look that one up.
I've managed to make up my own words in interviews. No, I think England was a place where the league is obviously the league that it is. It's very high intensity. Italy is more tactical, more shift inside to side, a lot of running as well. Tim could tell you that from our preseason trainings. And Germany's very, it's kind of a mix of both, I feel like. So I think, it's good. I think we're both happy. I'm happy. We'll see where it goes from there.
Next will be Seth Bertelny from USA Today.
Thanks, Michael. This one's for Weston. Weston, I want to ask you about what the last few months have been like for you at Juventus. A couple months ago, there were reports that you were going to be left out of the squad for the U.S. tour. Obviously, you were in that squad. and now you've kind of established yourself again as a regular at the club. Just started your first game of the season, and so I'm kind of wondering what these last few months have been like for you, and kind of what your outlook is like going forward at Juventus.
That question I'm going to answer on my personal podcast. I'm just playing. I'm just playing. Off the mic. No, no, I think the last few months is in the football world. Things happen so fast. Things can change within a day. Things can change within a week. I think for me, my biggest challenge to myself was just to take care of my body and come back to preseason prepared. And not give anyone anything to talk about or try and bring up about me. And I think coming back to Juventus wasn't easy in terms of because I left the club at a time of crisis, I guess you could say. And so coming back, I felt like I started back at square zero. But that's a challenge that I'm always up for, a challenge that I think I needed at this time of my career, to kind of prove to people that I still have it, prove to people that I still the player that I am, the player that they know me that I can be. And so going into preseason to America, I just wanted to put on good performances, which I think I did, and I think it kind of helped change the mind of some people. So we'll see where it goes from here. Obviously, the past 4 months past months are in the past, and can only focus on the present and look forward to the future. So
we'll go to Charlie Bone from MLSsoccer.com.
Hi, gentlemen. Thanks to you both for speaking today, and I hope you'll both give this answer or give a try on this answer. Greg talked about the history of St. Louis. He called it, for his generation, it was the capital of soccer in the United States this week. And I know you guys have been around. I think you got to meet some past national teamers with St. Louis ties. I was just wondering how much you guys knew about the history and whether you're experiencing it now this week and kind of your sense of the vibes there in the city.
Well, the history, I didn't know too much about the history of football here, but seeing the past players the other day was really a good experience, because those are the guys who paved the way for us, and for them to be here and us honor them was an amazing feeling. And just seeing how St. Louis is putting on for football in the States right now. I mean, their MLS team is doing well. The fan base is huge. When you watch their games, it's almost a sold out crowd. So I mean, it's amazing, and having that experience in a few days is gonna be super fun. I hope they come out to support, and yeah, hopefully we can continue building on U.S. soccer and continue building on that fan base in St. Louis.
Next will be Paul Tenorio from The Athletic.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, guys. I was wondering, with Greg back in camp, just kind of how much things feel different from the previous cycle, the same, how it was, considering you've had two different interim managers in between. Just kind of what it's been like, kind of trying to move forward now with Greg back. Thanks.
I mean, we touched on it a little bit in camp as well. I think what's most important, obviously, is realizing, and I know best myself, that there's no one person that's bigger than the program. There's no one person bigger than the team. And he touched upon that whenever he came back in. He said, look, like, it was amazing to be able to see that, even though I was gone and whoever stepped in, to realize that the brotherhood was strong, to realize that you guys had the same values, had the same approach to the game, with just the intensity, the way that we fight, the way that we want to win games. Like that's something that's a culture that we built here. And so whoever's here or not, that's something that is always in place. And that's important because, I mean, like you said, we had two interim coaches. We're a bit lucky enough that the two interim coaches that we had were with us the 4 years as well. So we kind of didn't have to really change that much. We all kind of had the same ideas. So, I mean, having them back in, it's good. I think, honestly, it's just picking up where we left off, in terms of whenever I guess he got let go or got sacked. I don't know how to really say it, but yeah, we kind of picked up where we left off, and training and vibes and everything is good as usual.
Next will be Mike Waitala from Soccer America.
Yeah, thank you very much. This question is for both of you. Can you describe a little bit your role with your club, with Juventus, and then how it might differ when you join the national team, not just in your individual role, if it does, but also maybe the different style of play that the national team might play? And is that something that you, is it a challenge? Is it something that goes smoothly, something you enjoy?
I mean, you're looking at starting right wing back and backup right wing back right now. No, I think obviously like our roles in the national team are a little bit different. Here I'm seen as an 8, Timmy's seen as a winger. I think in club team, right wing back and right wing back slash midfielder. I don't really know. But I think it's something that, with us being able to play so many different positions and being able to adapt to so many situations and roles, I think it's a good quality to have. I don't think that we really, stress that much about it. We both love one thing, and that I know for sure is to win. And we're those type of players that I feel like are very unselfish and kind of feel like, I want to do anything that I can to help the team win, whether that's supporting from the bench, whether that's playing out of position, whether that's not being on the roster. Like it doesn't really matter, but the success of the team is most important, I believe, as well. I'm sure he can say stuff on that as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think me and Wes are guys who can play multiple positions, and I think at our club team we're both playing outside back at the moment, wing back at the moment. And then we just know we have a job to do. We're at our club team, we do what we have to do. When we come in, we're doing our job. So I think that's the most important thing. And I think the main focus for us is to continue growing as athletes and as men and just do what we have to do to get the job done. And yeah, we're both pretty much zoned in and focused at whatever we're doing. So yeah.
And just as a reminder, I did misspeak at the beginning. Tim is listed on the U.S. roster as a forward. We'll continue with Ryan Talmadge from Goal.com.
Thank you, Michael. And I kind of want to follow up on that with you there, Tim, just because, you got a little bit of experience and started kind of adjusting to this role last season with Lille. So just for you, what has that adjustment been like? And what are some of the things that Juve is asking you to do as a wingback that might have been a little bit different at Lille? And how have you kind of adjusted to the things that they want you to do in that position?
It's been interesting. I mean, last season, getting my first experience, playing that position was fun. It was still very much a learning phase for me, and coming into Juve was fun. It was huge. Wes helped me a lot with just understanding a lot of things, but I think Juve was more of a defensive team last year, and they definitely brought me in to be play more of an attacking role, coming out the back, which is something I love doing, getting runs in behind the defense. I'm just applying pressure, so that's really fun. Allegri has, he's basically allowing me to do whatever I want while still, keeping the importance to whatever tactical, work we have, what we're doing. So I mean, yeah, no, it's not that different. Just have to defend a little bit more, but. You got to do what you got to do. But I'm having fun. I mean, I'm basically doing the same thing I'm doing as a winger, so yeah, it's definitely fun.
We'll go to Jonathan Tannenwald from the Philadelphia Inquirer.
Thanks, Michael, and thanks, gentlemen, for the time. I wanted to follow up on Charlie's question a little earlier about the history in St. Louis, and I wonder, for you guys, how important it is to make that connection and feel that connection to the history of men's soccer and soccer overall in this country, because a lot of the fans are so new. Many of them won't know what even happened 10 or 20 years ago. So what is it for you guys to be standing on the field, sharing time, talking, telling stories with guys who've obviously been around for multiple generations now? Thanks.
I think it's amazing. It's like what Tim said before. It's always good to know where everything started. It's always good to know, who paved the way to let you do what you do now. And obviously, the time and the support and the fans and everything were probably a lot more different than it was back then, which goes to show like how much the game has grown from back then to now. And they started it. We're just people that are pick up the anchor and carry it as far as we can, and until the next generation comes in as well. So right now, I think it's just a big collective work, a big collective group in terms of growing the game here in America. We set out on a mission 4 years ago to change the way the world views American soccer, and now our motto is to change soccer in America forever. And was that funny? No, I thought you laughed.
No.
I thought you laughed at me, bro. Change the way that change soccer in America forever. So I think with the World Cup coming up in the next 3 years will be massive, and I think it'll be good, for the guys that have come before us to see how much the game has grown and what they kind of started, the mission that they started off on, and see how it's being carried, and hopefully we can take it as far as we can and make them proud.
We'll take 2 more questions. First from Stephen Goff.
Hey Wes, I wanted to ask you, what are your observations of how Christian has done with Milan, jumping in there this season, and how maybe that positive play has carried over now into this camp? What you see from him and his mentality and disposition.
No, I think there's always a point in time in players' careers where things aren't going the way that you want it to go or how you picture it to go. I mean, I've had it. I'm sure Tim has had it at some point. But just to see him succeeding, to see him, being the player that we all know that he can be at Milan is transferring over really good. Obviously, we'll see it in the game on the weekend, but in trainings, it just seems like he's having more fun. It seems like he's more fluid. It seems like he's more confident in the decisions that he's making in the trainings, taking players one-on-one, getting shots off, scoring goals. So it's really exciting to be able to see that, because I mean, I've known him since he was 13, and the one thing about soccer that's most important is always to have fun with it, because once you stop having fun is whenever it gets really hard. So just to see him having fun with the game again is amazing, and I'm sure Tim sees it as well in trainings. He's pulling off moves that I haven't seen him pull off in a long time, but I know he can. So just to see him have the confidence again and starting off well in Milan and solidifying himself there is great.
Last question goes to Andrew Jones.
Thanks, MK and Wes. Michael gave you a shout out in terms of you nailing the tagline of changing soccer forever for the USA. So he gave you a shout out to you on that there. On the 5-year anniversary of the Brazil friendly that you had here in New York for both of you two. First, Tim, just wanted to ask you, since you're part of the Max Allegri experience of you now in that Juan Cuadrado role, who's been the funniest guy on Juventus besides Wes that you've had a chance to interact with so far in that way? And what does Benoit Sullivan mean to you with how he's been such a guidance for you? And Wes, Habe Lame, the personality, how did you meet him, and what's been your funniest interaction with him? Thanks.
Who? Wait. Can
Andrew, can you say that again?
You broke up a little bit on my part.
Yeah, Habe Lame, the TikTok.
Yeah, Kabi, yeah.
Yeah. But what's been your interaction with his fun personality, and how you got to know him, and your favorite Habe Lame story so far? You can go first, Tim, if you wanna.
I didn't hear the name that you asked me though. You said someone. I don't know who that. Who'd you say?
Oh, Benoit Sullivan, your agent or your counselor.
Oh no, my agent is somebody else, but no.
Okay.
So first of all, the funniest person in the locker room. I don't even know if there's I think we have our own little group with Moyes, Paul, Wes, Adrian. So we all pretty much joke around. I think Wes might be the funniest person in the locker room because everyone else is serious.
Wow. No, after me, it's got to be. It's probably either with your stupid singing sometimes.
Oh, maybe
you or more.
Pinto. Pinsoglio, yeah.
Pinsoglio.
Yeah, he's funny. But Benoit has played definitely played an important role in my life. Coming to France, he helped me get my documents and stuff like that. He was never my agent, but definitely someone who helped with transitioning from the States to Europe. So that was definitely someone important. Yeah.
For me, when in terms of Kabi, I've known Kabi even before he had his first 1 million followers on Instagram. Because one of the guys that I met when I first moved over there was actually a social media manager at the time, and Kabi's actually not really far from Turin. So I believe I met him in the first year that I was at Juventus. He used to come over to my house sometimes. He used to sleep over. I think I was probably the first soccer player he made a video with at my house, actually. He's a funny guy. We actually met up with him in LA whenever we were there with Juventus, and to see where he's at now is pretty crazy. Back then he was just a shy kid, this guy in my living room that was didn't really do much, and then after a couple times he's coming over, he's dancing in my living room, we're wrestling in my living room. He's living the life that I think he probably never imagined that he would live, but that turned out that way. So we're really I'm happy for him. Happy to see where he's gone to now, and hopefully he keeps up his role that he's playing and making people laugh, and his humbleness as well. He's a very humble guy. So yeah.